Captain stood on the bridge of the Horizon's Promise, staring at the screen before him. The ship's computer had detected something strange. A weak signal was coming from somewhere in the empty darkness of space. It was a distress call, but not like any he had heard before. "Sir, the signal is coming from Sector Gamma 7, said Lieutenant from his station. "That's neutral territory. We're not supposed to go there." Knew the rules. Earth fleet had clear orders about neutral zones. They were dangerous places where different alien governments made their own rules. But something about this signal bothered him. It sounded desperate, like someone crying for help in the dark. "How far?" asked. 2 hours at full speed, replied. Doctor walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's chief medical officer, and she had also heard the signal. "Captain, that distress call has been repeating for weeks. If someone is out there, they don't have much time left." Looked at his crew. The Horizon's Promise was a medical ship, not a warship. They carried medicine and doctors, not weapons and soldiers. Their job was to help people, no matter where they came from. "Change course," said. "Take us to that signal." Hesitated for just a moment, then nodded. "Yes, sir." 2 hours later they found the source of the signal. It was massive. A colony ship, bigger than anything had ever seen, floated dead in space. No lights, no power, just darkness. "Scanning now," said. His face went pale as he read the results. "Captain, there are life signs, 40,000 of them." 40,000, gasped. "What species?" "Unknown. The computer doesn't recognize them." Felt his heart race. 40,000 living beings on a dead ship. "Get your medical team ready. Prepare boarding procedures. We're going in." The boarding team wore protective suits as they entered the colony ship. The air inside was cold and thin. Emergency lights flickered weakly, casting strange shadows on the walls. As they moved deeper into the ship, they began to see them. The aliens were small, about the size of human children. Their skin looked like crystal, reflecting the dim light in rainbow colors. But they were not beautiful now. They were dying. Hundreds of them lay on the floors of the massive cargo holds, too weak to move. Their crystal skin had turned and dull. "Dear God," whispered. She knelt beside one of the aliens, scanning it with her medical equipment. "They're all sick. Some kind of radiation poisoning, but I've never seen anything like this." One of the aliens, older than the others, slowly lifted its head. It spoke in a language the translation device struggled to understand. Finally, the words came through. "Please help, we are left to die." His hands shook as she continued her scans. "Captain, they're all dying. Without treatment, they have maybe 2 or 3 weeks." Looked around at the thousands of sick. He knew what he had to do, but it went against every rule in the book. His ship was not big enough for 40,000 refugees. Earth fleet would be furious. Other alien governments might see this as an act of war. But these people were dying. "Can we help them?" he asked. She looked at her scanner, then at the around her. "I don't know, maybe. I need to study their biology, figure out what's killing them. But Captain, our medical bay can only hold 200 patients at most." "Then we'll make more room," said firmly. Back on the Horizon's Promise, called his senior officers together. He told them about their sickness, about the impossible task ahead. "Sir, if we take them aboard, we'll be breaking about 50 different laws," said quietly. "Earth fleet will charge us with unauthorized rescue, entering neutral space, and probably a dozen other things." Nodded. "I know." "We don't have enough supplies for 40,000 refugees," added the ship's supply officer. "Food, water, medicine will run out in days." "I know," said again. The room fell silent. Every officer knew what would happen if they did this. Their careers would be over. They might face prison, but they also knew what would happen if they didn't. Finally spoke. "Captain, I didn't become a doctor to let people die because it was inconvenient. I vote we help them." One by one, the other officers nodded. Felt pride swell in his chest. This was why he loved his crew. All right then, start bringing them aboard. Use every cargo bay, every spare room, every corridor if you have to. Set up medical stations everywhere. We're taking them all. All 40,000, sir? Asked. Every single one, confirmed. We didn't come to the stars to leave people behind. Move out. As his crew rushed to their stations, looked out at the dying colony ship. Somewhere in the darkness, 40,000 waited for hope. They had been left to die by someone who didn't care, but humanity cared. He would make sure of that. The rescue operation had begun. The Horizon's promise had become a massive hospital. Every cargo bay, every storage room, every empty space now held sick. The crew worked without stopping, turning their ship into a place of healing instead of a transport vessel. Engineer stood in what used to be Cargo Bay 3, watching his team install medical equipment. "We need more power," he said to his assistant. "The life support systems weren't designed for this many people." "Can we handle it?" the assistant asked. Wiped sweat from his forehead. "We'll have to. I'll reroute power from the weapons systems. We're not going to fight anyone anyway." In the medical section, Doctor had not slept in 2 days. She studied the biology with growing concern. The radiation sickness was worse than she thought, but the more she studied it, the more something seemed wrong. "This doesn't make sense," she said to her assistant. "Radiation poisoning should affect their cells differently. This looks like their bodies are just breaking down." Brought up another scan. "Doctor, look at this. Their cell structure needs a specific mineral compound. Without it, they slowly die." His eyes widened. "It's not radiation sickness at all. They need minerals from their home planet to survive. Without it, their bodies fall apart." She felt anger rise in her chest. Someone knew this. Someone left them out here to die on purpose. Meanwhile, in the captain's quarters, received a message from Earth Fleet Command. Admiral's face appeared on the screen, and he did not look happy. "Captain, what do you think you're doing?" demanded. "You entered neutral space without authorization. You rescued 40,000 aliens who belong to consortium territory. Do you understand the political situation you've created?" "Sir, they were dying," said calmly. "That's not our problem," snapped. "The consortium has filed an official complaint. They say those aliens are their property, that they owe debts. You're to return them immediately and come back to Earth to face court-martial." Felt his jaw tighten. "Properties or their people?" "The galaxy doesn't see it that way, Captain. You're ordered to hand over and return home. Now." The screen went dark, sat in silence for a long moment. Then he called his senior officers to the bridge. While they gathered, diplomatic officer was in the section, talking with their leader. Elder was old even by standards. His crystal skin was almost completely, but his eyes still held wisdom. "Tell me what happened," said gently. Through the translator spoke. "We worked for many generations. They came to our world and said they needed workers for their mines. We agreed. They promised us technology, medicine, better lives." "What went wrong?" asked. "They destroyed our planet," said, his voice cracking. "The mining operations poisoned our atmosphere, killed our plants, ruined our water. When we asked them to help us, they said it was too expensive. They put us on this ship and told us they would take us to a new world." "But they didn't," said quietly. "No, they brought us here to empty space and left us. They took our money, our labor, our planet. Then they threw us away like garbage because saving us would cost too much." Felt tears in her eyes. She had seen many terrible things in her career, but this was different. This was deliberate cruelty. Back on the bridge, explained the situation to his officers. "Admiral ordered us to return thee and come home." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. They would die. Spoke first. "Sir, we could face prison for disobeying orders." "I know," said. "We could lose our commissions, our careers, everything we've worked for," added another officer. I know, repeated. Then stepped forward. Captain, I've been working on something. If Doctor is right about the minerals, I can synthesize them using our fabricators. It will take all our power and resources, but I think I can save them. Entered the bridge at that moment. Captain, I've confirmed it. They need a specific mineral compound to survive. Without it, they die slowly. With it, they'll recover completely. But making enough for 40,000 people will take weeks. Looked at each of his officers. I'm not giving the order. I'm asking, should we defy Earth Fleet Command and save these people? One by one, each officer stepped forward. I didn't join Earth Fleet to abandon people, said. My oath was to do no harm, added. Engineers fix problems. This is a problem, stated. Was the last to speak. I just talked to Elder. He told me what they did to them. If we send them back, we're no better than the ones who left them here. Felt pride warm his chest. Then we're agreed, we stay, we fight, we save them all. He pressed the intercom. All hands, this is the captain. Earth Fleet has ordered us to abandon the. I'm refusing that order. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle back to Earth right now. No one will blame you. He waited. No one left their stations. Thank you, said simply. Now let's get to work. We have 40,000 lives to save. As his crew rushed to their tasks, sent one last message to Admiral. Sir, I'm sorry, but I cannot follow your orders. These people need us. We didn't come to the stars to become like the ones who hurt them. We came to be better. Horizon's promise out. He closed the channel, knowing he had just ended his career. But he also knew he had made the right choice. Doctor's eyes burned with exhaustion. She had been awake for 72 hours straight, working with medical technician to create the mineral compound that would save the. The first batch was ready. This has to work, said, loading the medicine into injectors. We don't have time for another failure. They started with the sickest first. 200 of them received the first treatment. For an hour, nothing happened. Then 2 hours. Watched the monitors, praying for any sign of improvement. Instead, the numbers got worse. No, 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 whispered as alarms started beeping. Their systems are rejecting it. Worked frantically, trying everything she could think of. But one by one, the patients grew weaker. By morning, all 200 had died. The news spread through the ship like a wave of cold water. The crew had worked so hard, sacrificed so much. And now 200 people were dead because the medicine didn't work. Sat on the floor of the medical bay, her head in her hands. She wanted to scream, to cry, to give up. But she couldn't. 40,000 more still needed her. Found her there an hour later. He sat down beside her, saying nothing for a long moment. I killed them, said quietly. I thought I could save them, but I killed them. No, said firmly. The killed them when they left them here to die. You tried to save them, that's not the same thing. But they're still dead. Put a hand on her shoulder. Yes, and we'll honor them, but right now you need to figure out what went wrong so we can save the others. Can you do that? Took a deep breath. She stood up, wiped her eyes, and nodded. Yes, I can do that. While worked on a new formula, pilot prepared for a dangerous mission. Engineer had discovered they needed rare elements from a nearby asteroid field to make the medicine work properly. The asteroids are unstable, explained. They're full of radiation and electromagnetic interference. Your shuttle systems might fail at any moment. Grinned, then I better be quick. He took a small team and flew into the asteroid field. The shuttle shook as rocks flew past them. The radiation was intense, making the instruments flicker and fail, but was one of the best pilots in Earth Fleet. He guided the shuttle through the chaos, collecting the elements they needed. Just as they finished, a massive asteroid came out of nowhere, pushed the engines to maximum, barely escaping as the rocks smashed through where they had been seconds before. Back on the Horizon's promise, new trouble arrived. 3 massive warships appeared on the sensors. They were vessels, armed with enough weapons to destroy a medical ship 100 times over. "Captain, incoming transmission," said, his voice tense. A face appeared on the screen. It was a commander named. He looked like an insect mixed with a reptile, with hard shell-like skin and multiple eyes. "Human vessel," said in a cold voice. "You have stolen property. You will surrender the workers immediately or be destroyed." "They are not property," said calmly. "They're people who need medical help. They owe debts to the consortium. They belong to us. This is your only warning." The screen went dark. The 3 warships moved into attack position, surrounding the Horizon's Promise. Worked frantically at his station. "Captain, I've been analyzing the ship's movement patterns. I found something in their logs." "What is it?" asked. "Sir, the deliberately infected them with radiation before they left them here. This wasn't an accident. They wanted them to die slowly, so it would look like natural causes." Felt rage burn in his chest. "They murdered them on purpose." "It looks that way, sir. They probably figured it was cheaper than keeping them alive or finding them a new home." At that moment burst onto the bridge. "Captain, the new formula works. We've treated 50 and they're all recovering. Their skin is turning back to normal colors. They're going to live." For a brief moment, joy filled the bridge. Then's voice came over the radio again. "You have 1 hour to surrender the. After that, we will open fire." Looked at his weapons officer. "What are our chances?" "Against 3 warships. 0, sir. We might damage one before they destroy us." Sat in his captain's chair, thinking hard. They were finally getting better. After everything they had been through, after all the crew had sacrificed, they were finally winning. But now these monsters wanted to take it all away. "Sir, what do we do?" asked. Made his decision. "We don't run. We don't surrender. These people went through hell to survive. We're not sending them back to the ones who tried to kill them." "Captain, they'll destroy us," the weapons officer said. "Maybe," agreed. "But at least we'll know we did the right thing. All hands battle stations. If we're going down fighting." The crew moved to their positions, went back to the medical bay to continue treating the. Every minute counted now. Every life they could save mattered. Returned with the rare elements and immediately started producing more medicine. They worked faster, treating hundreds of every hour. The countdown continued, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Outside, the warships powered up their weapons. Energy readings spiked on the sensors. They were preparing to fire. Sat in his chair, calm and ready. His crew was ready. They were recovering in the medical bays, not knowing that death was coming. 5 minutes left. Then something appeared on the sensors. Something impossible. Ships, not 3, not 5. 7 Earth Fleet warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, appearing right between the Horizon's Promise and the vessels. His jaw dropped. "Sir, it's Captain's battle group, the destroyer Defiant and 6 support ships." A new face appeared on the screen. Captain, commander of Earth's destroyer Defiant, smiled at. "Sorry we're late, Captain. We came as fast as we could." Captain could not believe what he was seeing. 7 Earth Fleet warships had just appeared, placing themselves between his medical ship and the vessels. Captain's face on the screen showed a confident smile. "Captain, what are you doing here?" asked, relief flooding through him. "Admiral sends his regards," said with a wink. "His official order told you to come home, but his real order was sent to me. He said, and I quote, 'Go save that stubborn fool and his crew.'" Felt his throat tighten with emotion. Had known. The Admiral had publicly ordered him home but secretly sent help. It was the only way to protect both an Earth fleet. Commander's angry voice crackled over the radio. "Human vessels, you are interfering in consortium business. Leave now or face consequences." Smile disappeared, replaced by cold steel. "This is Captain of the Earth Destroyer Defiant. The Horizon's Promise is under our protection. Any attack on them is an attack on Earth. Choose your next move carefully." The warships did not move. 3 against 7 were not good odds even for the, but was not done. "You are making a terrible mistake," hissed. "The consortium will not forget this. You are risking war over worthless slaves." "They're not slaves," cut in. "They're people you tried to murder. We have proof. You deliberately infected them with radiation and left them to die." Silence filled the radio. Had not expected that. "You have no proof," finally said, but his voice was uncertain now. "Actually, we do," said, transmitting the data logs from the colony ship. "Your own computers recorded everything. The orders, the radiation exposure, all of it." While the military standoff continued, something else was happening on the Horizon's Promise. They were getting better. Hundreds of them had now received the working medicine. Their crystal skin was turning from back to beautiful colors. They could stand, walk, even speak without pain. A young girl, no more than 6 years old in human years, walked into the human section of the ship. She had been one of the first to recover. In her hands, she held a piece of paper with a drawing on it. The drawing showed human figures with big smiles, holding the hands of figures. Above them, she had written words in broken English. "Thank you for saving us." Medical technician found the drawing and showed it to doctor. Felt tears run down her face. She took a picture of it and sent it to the bridge. "Captain," said over the intercom, "the children are drawing pictures of us. They're calling us saviors. They want to thank us." More pictures came, dozens of them. Children drawing the human crew as heroes, as friends, as family. Someone on the crew posted the pictures on the Galactic Information Network, the system that connected all space-faring civilizations. Within hours, the images had spread across hundreds of worlds. People from dozens of different alien species saw them. They saw the sick, they saw the humans helping them, they saw the children's drawings. The galactic opinion began to shift. Elder, now strong enough to stand, requested to address the galactic community, helped him set up a broadcast that would reach every major civilization. "My name is Leader of the People," he said, his voice carried across the stars. "For 3 generations we served the consortium. We worked their mines, built their ships, did everything they asked. In return, they destroyed our planet. When we begged for help, they put us on a ship and left us in empty space to die slowly." He held up one of the children's drawings. "These humans found us. They had no reason to help. We were not their people. We could not pay them, but they helped anyway. They broke their own laws, risked their own lives because they believed we deserved to live. This is what the consortium tried to destroy. This is what humanity saved." The broadcast ended, but the impact had just begun. On dozens of worlds, people who had suffered under the consortium began to speak up. Other species who had been exploited, abandoned, mistreated. They all shared their stories. The consortium faced a public relations disaster. Companies began boycotting goods. Governments questioned their trade agreements. The mighty consortium, which had ruled through fear and money for centuries, suddenly found themselves isolated. Back at the standoff, more ships began arriving. But these were not warships. They were civilian vessels from a dozen different species, coming to witness what was happening. News ships, cargo ships, even tourist vessels. Everyone wanted to see the humans who had the. Commander realized he had lost. If he attacked now, with the whole galaxy watching, the consortium would face consequences far worse than letting the go. "This is not over," said over the radio. "The consortium will remember this." The 3 warships turned and jumped to faster-than-light speed, disappearing into the black. The bridge of the Horizon's Promise erupted in cheers. The crew hugged each other, crying and laughing at the same time. They had won. Captain's face appeared on the screen again. "Well done, Captain. You've started something big here. Humanity's name is now known across the galaxy, for better or worse." "Will there be consequences?" asked. "Oh, definitely," laughed. "But I think they'll be good ones. At least I hope so. For now, let's get your passengers somewhere safe. We've arranged asylum for them on New Haven Colony. It's a human world with plenty of room and resources." Down in the medical bay, doctor treated the last of the patients. All 40,000 had now received the medicine. All 40,000 were recovering. Well, not all. 200 had died in the first failed attempt, would never forget them. But 39,800 were alive because of what the crew had done. A young boy approached and held out his hand, took it, and the boy squeezed gently. "Thank you," he said in careful English. "You saved my mother. You saved all of us." Knelt down to his level. "You're welcome, and I promise we'll make sure you have a good home." Outside, stars filled thee as the Horizon's Promise prepared to travel to New Haven, escorted by 7 Earth warships and watched by the entire galaxy. 6 months had passed since the rescue. Captain stood at the window of his apartment on New Haven Colony, watching the sunrise paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Below, the colony had grown. New buildings stood where empty fields had been before, and among the human colonists walked their crystal skins sparkling in the morning light. New Haven had welcomed them with open arms. The colony had plenty of space and resources. More importantly, it had people who believed that saving lives mattered more than politics or profit. Door chimed. Doctor entered carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Couldn't sleep either," she asked, handing him one. "Too much to think about," admitted. "The tribunal decision comes today." After the rescue, Earth fleet had put on trial for disobeying orders, entering neutral space without authorization, and causing an interstellar incident. For months, lawyers had argued about what he had done. Some called him a hero. Others called him a criminal who had risked war. "Whatever they decide, you did the right thing," said. "We all know that." Below them, the colony was waking up. Children walked to school alongside human children. Adults headed to work in the factories and workshops they had built. The 2 species had blended together naturally, each learning from the other. They had proven to be incredibly skilled. Their crystal bodies could sense vibrations and energy in ways humans could not. They became master engineers and artists, creating technology and artwork that amazed everyone who saw it. In return, humans shared their medicine, their farming techniques, their stories. Elder had become the representative to the colony council. He worked with the human leaders to make sure both species thrived together. It was not always easy. There were disagreements, misunderstandings, and cultural differences. But they worked through them because they had built something precious: trust. His communicator beeped. "Captain, the tribunal decision is ready," said a voice. "They want you on Earth for the announcement." "Understood," said he. Looked at. "Want to come with me?" "Wouldn't miss it," she smiled. They took a shuttle to Earth. The trip took 3 days. When they arrived, they found something unexpected. Thousands of people waited outside the military courthouse. Humans, and even aliens from other species who had traveled across space to be there. As walked toward the building, the crowd erupted in cheers. People held signs that said "Hero" and "Thank you for showing us what humanity means." Children threw flowers at his feet. Inside the courthouse, Admiral sat at the head of the tribunal. Other high-ranking officers sat beside him. They all looked serious. "Captain," began, "you have been charged with multiple violations of Earth fleet regulations. Do you have anything to say in your defense?" Stood straight. "No, sir, I broke the rules. I knew what I was doing. I would do it again." Nodded slowly. "The tribunal has reviewed your case extensively. We have considered the military regulations you violated. We have also considered the 40,000 lives you saved, the political changes you sparked across the galaxy, and the honor you brought to Earth fleet and humanity." He paused and held his breath. "It is the decision of this tribunal that all charges against you are dismissed. Furthermore, you are promoted to the rank of commander. Your crew will receive commendations for exceptional service. The Horizon's promise will be upgraded and returned to active duty. The courtroom erupted in applause, felt his knees go weak with relief. Stood and walked to, speaking quietly so only he could hear. Between you and me, you did what I hoped you would do. Sometimes the rules need to be broken to remind us why we made them in the first place. Well done, Commander. Outside, the celebration continued all day, but the real changes were happening across the galaxy. The incident with the had sparked something huge. Dozens of species who had been exploited by powerful corporations and governments began demanding change. They pointed to the rescue as proof that the old ways were wrong. Ambassador Sora, Earth's representative to galactic politics, worked day and night to turn this energy into action. She proposed the Sanctuary Protocols, a new set of galactic laws that would protect refugees and prevent the kind of abuse they had suffered. Not everyone supported it. The consortium and other powerful groups fought against the changes, but they were losing. The images of children thanking their human rescuers had touched hearts across 100 worlds. Public opinion was too strong to ignore. 3 months after the tribunal, the Sanctuary Protocols were adopted by the Galactic Assembly. Any species could now request asylum from abuse. Any civilization that deliberately harmed refugees would face severe penalties. It was not perfect, but it was a start. The consortium itself began to collapse. Without the ability to exploit and abandon workers, their business model failed. Species they had abused for generations rose up, demanding justice and freedom. Within a year, the mighty consortium had broken into a dozen smaller groups, none with the power they once held. Back on New Haven, the changes were more personal but just as important. Elder met with Commander in the colony's council chambers. The old moved slowly but with dignity. "Commander, my people wish to thank yours properly," said. "We have little to give, but we have one gift that we hope will be valuable." He handed a data crystal that glowed with inner light. "This contains our star mapping technology. It is far more advanced than anything other species use. It will help humanity explore the galaxy more safely and quickly." Held the crystal carefully. "Elder, this is too much. You don't owe us anything." "It is not about owing," said gently. "It is about friendship. You gave us our lives back. We want to give you the stars." The star mapping technology was indeed revolutionary. With it, Earth ships could navigate routes that would have taken years to discover. It opened up new sectors of space, new worlds, new possibilities. But the greatest gift was not the technology. It was the alliance that formed between humanity and the. Together, they invited other species who believed in compassion and cooperation to join them. The Free Worlds Coalition was born, a group of civilizations dedicated to helping each other rather than exploiting each other. 1 year after the rescue, Commander stood in a memorial garden on New Haven. 200 crystal statues stood in a circle, one for each who had died before medicine could save them. And human families came here to remember, to grieve, and to celebrate the lives that had been saved. Doctor stood beside along with, and the rest of the crew. Elder joined them, moving slowly among the statues. "Do you ever regret it?" asked quietly. "Everything we went through." Watched children playing in the garden, their crystal skin reflecting rainbow colors in the sunlight. Human children played with them, laughing and chasing each other without caring about the differences between them. "Not for a second," said. Elder approached them, his eyes filled with emotion. "Commander, Doctor, all of you, you taught the galaxy something it had forgotten. You showed us that profit is not worth more than life, that compassion is not weakness, that hope can survive even in the empty dark of space. That we'll never forget. The galaxy will never forget." Later that day, the Horizon's Promise prepared to launch on a new mission. The ship had been upgraded and expanded. Its crew now included both humans and working side by side. Commander sat in the captain's chair, looking at his mixed crew with pride. On the Another distress signal had appeared from a distant system. "Another signal, sir," reported from his station. "Unknown origin." "How far?" asked. "3 days at full speed." Smiled. "Then what are we waiting for? Set course. Maximum speed." As the horizon's promise jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading toward someone else who needed help, thought about how much had changed. One act of compassion had started a revolution across the galaxy. One crew's decision to do what was right had inspired billions. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity had shown everyone what they were truly capable of. Not conquest, not domination, but something far more powerful. Compassion, hope, and the simple belief that every life mattered. The horizon's promise disappeared into the stars, ready for whatever came next.